There's ROCKSTEADY at King of the Pit TV. I've been sipping through this record. What a great record to have a couple of drinks to and enjoy my night. Meshuggah. It was recommended by Philo Bedeau on the Patreon. He said, bruh, check out Chaosphere. Had a little Wikipedia. Well, I had a Google just to see where this album fell in the historical sense. Album number 3. So you know what? I might have to go to the first 2 albums at this point, because initially I thought, I've considered doing Meshuggah in the past by my own sort of want, and I've been turned off by the idea that the band is gonna not necessarily give me much to talk about, as generally I assumed the band would be like for 10 songs straight. I had plenty to talk about. This was a good record. This was a good record. To put it lightly. 1998, this was put out. Man, where do we start? So before we even get into the composition, let's talk about the instrumental. Guitars, 7-string. Drop A? Lower than drop A? What would you say? Overt distorted guitars. Great bass presence. Good high end on the bass. We heard it reverberating through the track. Quality drumming. In my opinion, the snare could have done with a little more wallop, a little more volume perhaps, a little more of an attack to it. Vocals, good, but not, I don't mean to be disrespectful, because I don't want this to be a disrespectful review, to be honest, because I enjoyed the record. But to be honest, I'd have a different vocalist, a different frontman to Meshuggah. But that's my personal taste, because I've got a different taste to you and the next person and the person after that. I'd have a different vocalist. Not down to, artistic merit, but more so just down to the approach of things. I'd have a different element with the frontman. Man, where do you start? So, it was consistent. There was no downside to this record. If you like what you hear, you'll like what you hear. I think a lot of what I'm going to say is going to correlate with a lot of Meshuggah records. It's intense. If you can listen to this material consistently, man, I'm a fan of extreme music, but if you can listen to this consistently, I salute you, because man, like, it's intense. And it should not be intense, let me say that. It should not, but due to the fact we have been engineered, at least in the Western world, at least in England, we've been socially engineered to appreciate and be aware of and be familiar with 4/4 music. So anything external to that is a bit uncomfortable. And uncomfortable brings dissatisfaction. And psychologically speaking, I'm a songwriter, and I know the ins and outs of songwriting, and I know why. It's because I don't want to put a piece of work on and feel dumb for listening to it. It's going to make me think, fuck that. Subconsciously, I'm going to be pushing it away, because it's like, fuck that. Whereas something that I understand and can follow, I'm more so to be like, brilliant. This pleases my ego. This correlates with the spirit that is within, that has been harboured since the day I was born, through my parents listening to 80s music, listening to Duran Duran, They were playing in time signatures like that. So, it's intense. Is it fun? Yes. Is there a novelty? Yes, there is a novelty. Is it industrial? Is it nu metal? Yes. More so than it is death metal, more so than it is thrash metal, more so than it is heavy metal and everything in between. Down to the artwork. I think there's an appropriate amount of material on the record. Any shorter... You know what? Shorter would be a bolder statement. Because we sort of know where we're going anyway. 4 songs in, we know we're going to have 4 songs of the same. But if we had 6 songs, 7 songs of that and had it a brief record, the impact would be tenfold, I would reckon. I would reckon personally. I like the atmosphere, the song titles. The song titles are good. I don't follow the lyrical content, so I'm not too fussed on that. I'm not going to read it. I don't care. And I hate it in a fantastic way. I'm going to give this a good rating. I'm going to give it a good rating. I'm going to give this record 8 out of 10. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. Because this is such a great change from the norm. I've got to appreciate it. It's so ahead of its time. Because you had the whole Gent thing. And I know Gent had a different sound to it. And Gent, but I would argue that most of the difference in sound was down to the higher rate production value, the studio magic and wizardry. But this was so ahead of its time, possessed so many great elements, great song titles, so I know the lyrical content was good. Concentrated, powerful. I mean, powerful is... There's better words to describe this record, but powerful, most definitely. Most definitely. From second number 1, we're in. I don't like the fade outs on the songs. I think that takes away from the emphasis and the concentrated power that Meshuggah have. The fade outs are nonsense. I don't want the fade outs. I dislike the fade outs a lot. Unnecessary. Unnecessary. Yeah, I've got a great feel for recommending this record. I'm going to do more Meshuggah after this because there's so much to talk about. And the brilliance is you don't know how to talk about it. The guitar solos, interesting. Great, you tell me. Interesting, definitely. Who doesn't want to listen to interesting music? People tend to say interesting as sort of an indirect negative. Or that person is interesting, to say they're odd, weird. This is odd and weird, but I say interesting to say I'm actually caring. Because guitar solos are boring as hell to me. 8 out of 10, most definite. Most definite. And on that note, let's check out the Wikipedia, see if there's any factoids there, alright?